currently the UK government are in discussions about potentially getting rid of PIP payments, or personal independence payments, for people with disabilities. Now, I've done a previous video about that where I said they should stay, and I stand by that. I'm just going to make clear my opinion on that has not changed. I still believe they need to stay. Not they should, they need to. But besides that, in this video, I just kind of want to reiterate what I'd already said and address some things that perhaps I didn't say in that video. So, now here's the big thing. I understand the standpoint of people who have disabilities who are able to work, should work, and then earn money. But here's the problem. What exactly constitutes for a person with disabilities being able to work? Now, what I mean by that is, say now it were a job. Now, someone with a physical disability, perhaps where they haven't got a lot of motor functions, or in the most extreme case, they haven't got the use of their legs or their arms, or they're confined to a wheelchair or something like that, or perhaps they have a deformity where they have one arm or anything like that. Now, if it's a job that requires a lot of physical exercise, a lot of physical activities, like say being a builder or a road worker, then you can't expect someone with a physical disability to carry out that job effectively or productively or efficiently. It's just not realistic. But if it's a job that they could do from the comfort of their own home, like by a laptop or something that requires more brain function and brain activity than actual physical labor, then they're going to potentially excel at that job. Same goes though for people with disabilities who have where they're not physical but they're more neurological. For instance, lots of my videos are about autism and ADHD, but there are tons of psychiatric conditions and neurological conditions out there that have different effects on a person's, well, personality, their character, and how they carry themselves in day-to-day life, the issues they face. So, say someone has an extreme anxiety disorder, so they really cannot be in large groups of people or in very social situations or where there's a lot of noise, because whether they want to or not, whether they can help it or not, it's just going to set them off. It may make them panic, it may make them unfocused, it could cause perhaps seizures in really extreme cases. You cannot expect them then to have a job, say, as a store clerk, where they have to deal with customers every day. And let's be honest, not all those customers are going to be really polite. They might come across some really rude customers who are just going to take out whatever they're going through during that day on them, which is just going to make it worse. They also couldn't potentially be part of be in work environments where it's required them to be involved in a large group, like teamwork. Now, you can't then expect that person to have that job or to take those jobs and carry them out, again, effectively or efficiently or productively. But if they had a job where they are sitting on their own, or again, working from home, or in a situation where they aren't required to engage a lot with colleagues, then they'll excel and they'll be better for the business as a whole, for whoever they're working for. That's the thing, because they say people who have disabilities but are able to work should work. But the thing is, because jobs are so different and the requirements for jobs are so different, and lots of them depend on the educational system as well, it's all kind of like a chain reaction. So people who have certain disabilities, even if they want certain jobs because they know they can do them, might not be qualified or might find barriers in their way preventing them from getting that job. And then they have to go from square one, like most people do, and work their way up. But the problem is with square one is it's usually very common to have environments or to involve situations or circumstances that they can't cope with or they can't physically engage with. Because I think a lot of the time, I totally understand that it can seem really unfair when people with even neurological disabilities, not physical ones, because physical ones I suppose are easier to understand, right? If you can't do this, you can't do that, then we understand that, it's clear as day, it's fine. But for people who have neurological disabilities or psychiatric conditions or phobias or all sorts, it's a situation where perhaps they feel very frustrated because they would love to work. There's a big misconception that seems to be going around where it's just like they're taking advantage of the system, but that's not what's happening. What's happening is a lot of the time it's actually more stressful to go through the process of the system to claim benefits and PIP payments than it is actually to get a job. But they can't actually engage with the job. They can't carry it effectively, and with inflation costs these days, that's just making things more complicated. So the thing is, I know it can seem like taking advantage of the system, but that's not what it is, because it really is a lot simpler to get a job. It's just they can't go through with it. They can't do it, or they can't carry it out, or there are circumstances surrounding them that prevent them from doing it. And it's unfair. It's frustrating as all hell, trust me, I know. But that's why when it comes to things like this, like personal independence payments, it's really important that they stay in place, because they allow people, like I said in my previous video, to sort of find a footing or find a base to stand on so they can support themselves as they work through their issues, their difficulties, their challenges, or they find different means to go into the direction that where they can be a productive member of society in an everyday job, perhaps that they enjoy, hopefully, because if you enjoy it, it's not work. But that's why it's important. You don't take away something that's already providing support for people and say it's for their benefit. You have to ask them what will benefit them. And the first thing that I'm certain would be said is, don't take that which they already have supporting them away. Build on it. Alter it maybe a little bit so then it's perhaps more fair or more lenient or more strict. It depends on what works best. But really, you have to ask the people who you're working for the benefit for what benefits them, because they're the ones who know, not everyone else. And when it comes to like money in the UK, there seems to be this inconsistency a lot of the time, where sometimes money is being taken from the general public and it's being claimed, oh, because we need to afford this, or we don't have enough money, or because of inflation this is happening. But then what about like higher end bureaucrats and councilmen who have ridiculous amounts of money that, let's be honest, they don't really need for one lifetime alone, and yet that's not being used, that's not being taken away. Instead, money is being taken away from general public people, or people who desperately need money, like people with disabilities, who already can't afford to give money away or can't afford to give up money. And a lot of jobs these days, especially when you're starting from square one, aren't even paying close enough to what is needed for someone to be able to stand on their own feet, to be independent. It's ridiculous. It's highly disproportionate, and it needs to be fixed. But on this case, when talking about PIP payments, they, for starters, need to stay in place, because they are very, very helpful for people who genuinely need them. So anyway, I think that's all I wanted to say on it right now. If you have any thoughts or opinions on what I've said, please put them in the comments section. Otherwise, if you have any questions or requests for future videos, do that too. Otherwise, if you like the video, please leave a like. Follow me here on the channel, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're interested. Pretty much the same videos, but I'm kind of seeing where to go with both these channels, you know, which direction to take. And besides that, repost the video if you're interested, because it helps raise awareness, it helps my channel, and honestly, there's a lot that needs to be fixed, and I think people really need to pull together and do it together, because clearly the government is not doing it for us. That having been said, that's all I need to say. So other than that, enjoy your day, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Till then,